Welcome back, everyone. Super excited. That's a word I think it's often overused, but I am genuinely very excited. We have Kelly Lee and David Hedge from ExxonMobil. And I know people often ask me, they say, FTO sounds great, but okay, who's using it? Well, there's a small company called ExxonMobil you may have heard of, and they're going to tell you about what they're doing in a real world application. This isn't just a lab. This is a real place that's going to build real things. And again, I don't want to spoil the story, but thank you very much. And over to David and Kelly.
Absolutely. Thank you, Richard. Yeah, super excited to be here and share, what we're doing with FDO. I'm joined by Kelly. Kelly, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Sure. Thank you, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good day. My name is Kelly Lee. My current role is the Open Process Automation Commercial Lead within ExxonMobil Technology and Engineering Company. In my role, I'm responsible of commercializing the OPA technology from R&D into deployment. So I'm very excited here to join Dave, who have spent a lot of time working on our Lighthouse project, and then take the success of that to further deployments within ExxonMobil. So yeah, looking forward to our discussion.
Absolutely. So my name is Dave Hedge. I'm a technology architect and fellow in our IT organization at ExxonMobil. And for the last 5 years, have been working on the architecture from both the hardware and software side to enable our open process automation strategy, vision, and implementation at our Lighthouse facility in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. You may be asking, what in the world is open process automation? And so, what it is it's our internal and vision that we have brought out into the world through actually a forum that we've invited, other end users, automation suppliers, and technology companies to help transform the process control industry from a closed proprietary solution set to something that's open and secure and standards-based. And where we want to do this to accelerate, innovation and value creation for a corporation. A lot of folks, when we talk about process control and our manufacturing capabilities, it's large scale investments for a number of years, typically measured in decades. And so, you've got systems that were designed in the late 80s, early 90s that you really can't generate, or you can't introduce technology or really innovation into the core of those systems that really allow you to do your manufacturing, for the next generation, whether it be, the people, the process, the technology that you want to be able to run. So we've been on this journey for 10 plus years. It's an R&D program, and we were getting to the point where we're actually deploying something, and that's our Lighthouse in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And the objective here is really to see, how can we get added return through increased supplier competition, reduce barriers to new technology. Everybody's really excited about the AI, ML stuff. What else can we do with it? It allows us to open up the data as well. Lower integration and lifecycle costs. How do we field these systems for a lower capital cost and maintain them at a lower cost? Reuse control applications across our systems. It's relatively difficult. If you think about something that's designed in the 1980s, porting into 2024, it's not the world's easiest task. And so how do we enable ourselves to continue to reuse applications across our manufacturing fleet? And I think where FDO and FIDO really shine is this vision, this kind of how do we reframe and transition this industry for innovation and value creation. How do we apply security by design? And this is really where we engaged with FIDO, we engaged with the FDO kind of concept to bring that knowledge, to bring those standards in and change the way that we look at onboarding hardware into these types of systems. So it's been a journey. It's something that we took a very strong stance very early on, that we wanted to bring security in at the very forefront of what we were doing, because we had the opportunity to start from essentially a white piece of paper, a blank sheet of paper, and reconstruct the idea of what a process control system would look like for us that would eventually get fielded. And that's currently ongoing right now. If you look to the right-hand side of the slide, here's kind of a wordle of things that, when we talk open process automation, folks recognize or associate with a lot of ilities: interoperability, optionality, scalability, high availability, things that give us the flexibility, another ility, to change and to adapt to what's happening in the manufacturing front as we go forward, and as our business continues to change, in what we produce and how, people and technology kind of interact. Because I'm an architect, I'm going to do a quick, let me see if I can get my slide to move. Yes, there we go. A very simplified OPA reference architecture. So this is based upon what we're actually deploying in Baton Rouge. And we're going to focus on that red box right there. In the grand scheme of things, why is it going crazy now? We're going to focus on the red box right here. And what this is it's a compute DCN. So you can think of it as a small form factor PC that's actually running the code or the application to translate, signals coming in from the field, do the calculation, and then move a valve, control a turbine, something along those lines, a process. And these applications are, running across a wide variety of small form factor computers. That's one of the big changes that we made. We moving towards this type of concept. It's very software defined. All of the little black boxes that you see on top of these computers are actually containers. And we're using FDO to instantiate this environment and make sure it's secure, make sure we know exactly what's inside of these computers, so we can get repeatability from a standards perspective for us, a cybersecurity component, which is when we bring hardware in, we're not bringing in with an operating system. So there's no updates or patches that we have to do in order to get it into the control system. We basically build it on site. And then we're able to deploy the applications on top of it, knowing that it's a trusted runtime environment, and it allows us to extend that security concept further where we have been able to do that before. So from an architecture standpoint, you've got I/O kind of at the bottom, you've got some compute at the top. Your advanced computing platform is your more traditional kind of server stack that you would see in a data center, and all this comes together to construct this software-defined control system. And this is what we deployed out in Baton Rouge. So they're actually running and manufacturing product on this today. And they're working on cutting over the last piece of it, which is this process area component. And that's going to be their control system to manufacture product for their business line. So I'm a big believer in, let's actually show kind of what we're doing. So I'm gonna jump to the next slide, which is a demonstration video. And I'll kind of narrate, the components that we have with FDO and how we're using it to show what's going on. So this is one of the IPCs that we're using. It's from ASRock. I think they're their next speaker. So it's an industrial PC. It's already been through the manufacturing process. So all we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and dock it to the DIN rail mount here. We're going to connect the power cables and the Ethernet cables. And what we're doing here is we're bringing it into an environment where we can actually authorize it and then deploy the workloads on top. So this allows us to kind of bring it into a safe zone before we're actually touching the production network. So this is our end user interface that our site engineers are using. What it does is it self-registers. These devices self-register into it. That gives us the ability for folks to use a click method to actually execute the commands. We built a way to kind of watch what FDO is doing here and the load process. So that's what you see on the screen here. It's basically going to scroll a bunch of logs. And that's to give the end users some feedback into what's actually happening. So go ahead, we'll execute that. So right now we're authorizing the device. So this will authorize the device to actually build itself. So we've gone from the manufacturing process. Now we're putting the base operating system inside our facility onto this device. So we know exactly what packages are going in. It's getting its security configuration. It'll basically become something that we can deploy workloads on top of and give a personality. Once that completes, the next step, it'll actually begin to respond to the network. The last piece of it is we're going to bring it into the environment. And what that's going to do is move it from kind of this secured zone actually into the control area through some automation, as well as then deploy all of the workloads. So we've gone from bare metal hardware to an operating system using FDO. to then deploying workloads and bringing it into the environment for control, so that our application engineers, if we're doing a device replacement, if we're doing some type of enhancement, we can bring these in rather quickly. And this is the Ansible playbook that we use to actually run this. So again, highly automated, something that we don't necessarily have in the controls environment today or in the industry. And it gives us the ability to allow folks to click buttons versus going out with USB. Again, that security context, knowing that the device is secure, knowing the operating system is secure, knowing that we don't have folks going in and plugging into devices with laptops. It adds that level of security that we're looking to get. All of that is done in about 17 minutes, which is really fast. Very similar to what we see on the IT side with loading laptops and servers. So this is, just kind of a recap slide of what you just saw. Things that we've done with this. We've done multi-vendor stuff, whether it's Intel or AMD CPU based. We're using the TPM as the way to authenticate and store the credentials. We're using a lot of Ansible automation for the personalization and the loading process to drive these workflows. And then we're using Zabbix to wrap it all together. So that we have something that's easy from a system standpoint to interact with and to initiate these types of activities, and allowing FDO to do its thing behind the scenes, to securely onboard this and provide us a pathway that will allow us to continue to extend the security concepts, whether it be the use of TPM or certificates, to continue to maintain these devices and push the security boundary on something that's really important, which is the controllers that actually run the facility. So I'm going to hand it off to Kelly real quick to talk about our commercialization strategy as we go forward.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. If you can continue share your slides, I think we have one slide on the commercialization strategy. So you heard from Dave that the success of our Lighthouse project, and we want to know what's next, which is we build up the success of the Lighthouse project, as you can see here on the slides, and with further deployments. So we're starting with smaller, lower complexity OPA aligned solutions, which is the focus areas in 24 and 25, as you can see highlighted here, and we leverage those to drive the experience and cost reductions. Ultimately, we want to develop an ecosystem of commercially available solutions for all types of complexities projects. One thing I want to mention here is, as we are deploying all these OPA solutions in the near term, one of the requirements that we put in our RFP or RFQs, request for proposal or request for quotes, is the cybersecurity requirements. Not only they need to meet the IEC 62443 security level 2 as the minimum requirement. One of the things that we specifically state in our requirement is the secure onboarding that you heard from Dave. That to us is a critical requirement to be part of the OPA solutions. And ultimately, look back to our final visions, we want to see ultimately we will have an open, secure, and standard-based systems becoming the normal offerings from the automation suppliers, and working together with suppliers and end users to build such ecosystems. So that's a quick overview of our commercial strategy of deploying more solutions, building up on the Lighthouse project. And I'll hand it back to you, Richard. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much indeed, Kelly, David. A lot of people, as I said, have asked me, tell me about some real applications, and it doesn't get much more real than this. So thank you both. Really great to hear about how you're using FDO, how OPA is really changing the whole world of control from something that's been around, a mindset from decades ago, to a very much, dare I say, IT mindset, ITOT mindset.
Yes.
And it's just a terrific piece of work. And again, very exciting to see not just the deployment, but as you've heard from Kelly, more to come. And I think for all those watching, I think that's a super exciting story. So with that, thank you very much. We'll take a very short break, and then we'll be moving on to Kenny Chang, who's the Vice President at ASRock Industrial, and he'll be talking specifically about the work they've been doing, and he'll touch a little bit on the Exxon story as well.